Welcome to the weekend update for Liberty, Leadership, and Lies with Larry Linton. The show is coming to you once again from the Permian Basin, just outside of Midland, Texas. Keep up with the show as there will be news in the future about a schedule change. Not a change in the episode schedule, but a change in my consulting work schedule. First, we'll start with some campaign information. I'm putting together the first monthly campaign newsletter that will be issued in early May. If you would like to be included on the distribution list for this newsletter, just send an email to larry-for-tn12@protonmail.com. In the newsletter, I will talk about upcoming campaign events, news about how the Transpublicans in Nashville have and continue to work hard to erode our liberties. I will also use it to point out the stark differences between my future opponent in the general election and myself. If you follow the campaign or podcast on social media, you know that I sent an open records request to the Sevier County School Board. No answer as of yet, which brings me to an event that happened yesterday at the Sevier County School Board's main building. A bunch of concerned parents showed up to meet with district leadership to discuss their concerns with the latest news about the SEL curriculum. Prior to that meeting, more than 24 citizens showed up for a prayer meeting where they prayed over the teachers, administrators, students, and parents. More details on this meeting between the parents and administrators will be forthcoming in next week's full episode, where we will once again talk about lies. The more the curriculums, the staffing, and the budgeting in the Sevier County School District are looked at, more questions are generated. For those of you that do not live in Sevier County, I sincerely hope that you are looking at the curriculums being taught in your local government schools. I will keep saying this until the public education system in our republic is scrapped and rebuilt from the ground up. It isn't rocket science, folks. These people are evil and they just want to diddle our kids. On the Transpublican General Assembly front, more bad news than good news. You would think with it being an election year that these Transpublicans would be supporting liberty-protecting legislation. Not so for the most part in our General Assembly. Let's discuss a couple of bills. First, there's been a lot of hoopla about House Bill 1201, House Speaker Cameron Sexton's brainchild. The Transpublican sponsors of the legislation are trying to say that the bill seeks to increase transparency in campaign finance for voters in Tennessee. Transparency in what sense? Speaker Sexton had this to say, quote, "They want to know who's behind the money, how they're spending the money, because they're trying to influence elections," unquote. What isn't transparent, though, is all the proposed amendments to the bill. Amendments proposed by legislators that are being lobbied for those changes. You know what isn't reported or what isn't transparent? Just how much these lobbyists are spending on the legislators to get the bill and the amendments passed. Why is the General Assembly wanting transparency from nonprofits and not from themselves? You always have to ask the why, ladies and gentlemen. How many and what type of nonprofits have popped up all over the state and country since the outset of the pandemic and the fraudulent 2020 election? Most of these groups either identify as either conservative or constitutionalists. Who are the Transpublicans really concerned about? Well, these newer nonprofits that are highlighting corruption and erosion of our liberties by the governor and the General Assembly. So now you know why the Transpublicans are pushing this bill. The votes on this bill, which are recorded in the Senate, are available on the General Assembly's website. Senators that voted for this bill in the Senate State and Local Government Committee include two of our favorites on this program. They would be Senators Gardenhire and Briggs, the very definition of Transpublicans. Do you want to know who voted against it in the subcommittee? Well, that would be Senator Janice Bowling. You all should know by now that Senator Bowling is a staunch defender of liberty, and if she voted against this bill in subcommittee, it is a bad bill. Of course, there's no record of who voted for it so far in the House subcommittees because they do not list that. It passed on a voice vote in the following House subcommittees: House Elections and Campaign Finance Subcommittee on the 14th of April and House Local Government Committee on the 12th of April. For you Sevier County residents, our own Representative Dale Carr sits on the House Local Government Committee. It seems that Mr. Carr is all about censoring conservative nonprofits. Interesting, right? Well, that's it for now. I was hoping to get to House Bill 2524, which would have been true constitutional carry in the state of Tennessee. We'll save that for later. Until next Saturday, this has been the weekend update of Liberty, Leadership, and Lies with Larry Linton. I pray you all have a wonderful weekend. Stand in the arena with me. Reveille, it's time to wake up.